Hey, Speedwinghere here, and today I wanted to talk about some of the potential inspiration behind the setting of Fortune's Weave. So what we can grasp from the first trailer that we've had is that there's a big arena game and characters are traveling to it in order to receive a wish. Now, what we're looking at here is practically a Colosseum, and there's very obviously some heavy Roman and Carthaginian inspiration in the architecture. The port that we see at the very start of the trailer is very obviously inspired by a Carthage Punic port. The same round shape. But who I'm more interested in is the Divine Sovereign. I think the Divine Sovereign is heavily inspired by Sol Invictus. Sol Invictus was the official sun god of the late Roman Empire, who was installed by Aurelian and practically forced upon the people as one of their new main gods. Now, what was interesting about Sol Invictus is that there was an event held every 4 years called the Sol Invictus Games. These were a set of games held every 4 years that heavily involved chariots in an arena. Sol Invictus is nearly entirely always depicted with having a sort of spiked headdress. And what does our Divine Sovereign have? The same spiked headdress. Next, I want to touch on Theodora, or rather, her soldiers. So when Theodora summons her army briefly during the trailer, they're noted to have curved swords.
You see those warriors from Hammerfell? They've got curved swords. Curved swords.
Now, my first initial thought was these were kukris used by the Gurkhas, but that wouldn't make any sense at all for the time and setting that I feel like they're going with for this game. But rather, these are falcatas used by the Iberian Carthaginian. Carthaginians covered the Iberian soldiers at the time. Now, with Theodora's wish being great strength, unyielding strength, and her being depicted as having a massive army, I don't think it's much of a stretch to potentially have her inspiration be none other than Hannibal. We could be looking at the first potential elephant rider in the series. I will be so hyped if we actually see one of those. I mean, they could even put a Freehouse's spin on it and have it be a demonic beast rider or something, I suppose, but I do think this has potential to be very, very interesting, depending on where they go with this setting. Next on to Dietrich, who is, I think, very obviously from Fodlan, which is heavily German-inspired, with him also having a German name, so he would be the stand-in for Germanic forces. Then we go on to Leda, who is much harder to place based on just her design and what we've seen from her so far. I don't think there were any ancient nations that summoned monsters. However, interestingly, her name is the same name as the Queen of Sparta, a mythological figure who had some rather unfortunate things done to her by Zeus, which honestly could kind of actually lead into the whole her having command over mythical creatures. So it could be a stand-in for that, who knows? I might be looking a bit too deep into this, perhaps they aren't all stand-ins for stuff, but I just really like the kind of overall theme of this ancient Roman Empire and the countries surrounding it. Finally, moving on to Kai. The problem with Kai is that all we know about him is that he comes from a village and he wants to save his father. I feel like he's just a stand-in for, the semi-official main character. I don't think he's an avatar at this point, because even on the official website, he's only listed as a he. There isn't a he or she or anything. I'd be very surprised if it was just a male avatar. It's possible that he's going to be like the Crom of this game or something. He's wearing a hoodie and he rides a big chicken. There's nothing I can place for this one, really. I think he's just the cool OC. So there you have it. Those are my kind of initial thoughts on the potential inspiration behind the setting of the game. If they are going a Sol Invictus route with the Divine Sovereign, that would be very exciting. Because the Sol Invictus basically was originally a cult that was then installed by Emperor Aurelian. And I think we could probably have a good guess that maybe whoever wins this tournament isn't going to get their wish, or their wish isn't going to go the way that they think it will. So I'm actually quite excited for the plot of this game now if it does go that route. Theodora especially. If Theodora is going to have some heavy Hannibal influence in her army, in the country that she's from, that could be so exciting. Anyway, let me know what you think down below. I will be continuing to give my general thoughts on Fortune's Weave and as we get more information. So, until next time, I will catch you later.